What's going on, everyone? So, Dalton Knecht, what a ride so far with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's a player that we were all very excited to have acquired. I mean, talk about a guy that was as high as like number 5 on many big boards, falling all the way to 17 to the Lakers. He started the season just like blazing. It was like, wow, like this could be game changing for the Lakers. Then he started to kind of cool off, then kind of got inconsistent, kind of, started getting more or less and less minutes and opportunities and roles and field goal attempts. So it made it harder and harder for him to kind of climb up. And he still had a good season. But then fast forward, he ends up getting traded. After the trade, he gets put back on the Lakers because the trade ends up falling through. And he hasn't been right. He hasn't been the same since. You can see it. It's just, we all want him to, toughen up. You're in the league, you got to be in it. But not everybody is. It's such a unique, weird, different situation. It's one thing when you get traded. It's another thing to get traded and then now you're back. And it's like, now you got to pretend like you want to compete for a team that doesn't even want you. And it's like, I thought I was your guy. I thought I was your future. I thought you had all these expectations and beliefs and the excitement. I mean, look at how Luka took being traded by Dallas. And he was a veteran. He's been in there for years, right? And, you talk about a guy that Dalton Knecht, it's like, how do you think Luka would feel going back to Dallas? Right? He'd probably be like, okay, you guys got to trade me. Hey, I'm out of here. I'm not sticking around. Most players would. But Dalton Knecht's in a situation where he doesn't have that power. He doesn't have that say. So it was a weird spot for Dalton Knecht to be in. And then you fast forward to the Summer League, and it's just, he was abysmal in Summer League. And yes, there were reports that like, hey, they're not really like other teams, organizations, execs and stuff. They're not like really overly concerned with the, that situation. They kind of look at that as like, hey, it's Summer League, can't put too much weight into it, and they think that he'll be back. But talked about, I believe that he's probably getting traded again. That I believe he is probably the odd man out. I don't see where he gets meaningful minutes, at least regularly. Like, who are you playing him over? Not playing him over Rui, not playing him over Marcus Smart, you're not playing him over Austin Reeves. You're not playing him over Jared Vanderbilt because we need the defense badly. Right? Like you're probably not playing him over Jake LaRavia because Jake LaRavia is going to give you a legit two-way capabilities, the 3 and the D. The problem with Dalton Knecht is he doesn't give you anything unless he's shooting the lights out. He was our worst defensive player by every metric, and he didn't look better in Summer League. He was getting torched in Summer League. I mean, they were literally switch hunting him in Summer League. What do you think is going to happen in the actual NBA? Right? Like and I've said this before, I think what's best for Dalton Knecht, like if you're a fan of Dalton Knecht, you should be praying that the Lakers trade him because it's going to be what's best for Knecht, right? As long as he's on the Lakers for at least the foreseeable future, he's never going to be more than a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. But that's not all he is. We've seen his ability to be explosive and, operate, shoot, be a 3-level scorer, apply rim pressure, explode to the basket, put a guy through the rim. Like, you've seen him be a guy that can create for himself, create for others. He's got great athleticism, great speed, all those things. But he's so far down the pecking order that even if he does really start to move up, chances are he's probably not going to be anything more than the 4th, 5th option at best, right? Best case scenario, maybe he moves in the Rui role. But like Rui is a guy we know is much more than a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. And yet he's basically relegated to be a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. And to his credit, he's really adapted and molded into that, right? And before I dive into that further, we got reports, right, that the Lakers are willing to trade Dalton Knecht. Evan Sidery talked about how Los Angeles is very open to moving former first-round pick Dalton Knecht alongside necessary expiring salaries. We talked about it in the Andrew Wiggins trade to where, supposedly Lakers and the Heat are, re-engaging in conversations about trying to land Andrew Wiggins going into training camp, which I think makes a lot of sense for the Lakers. I do think it's something that the Lakers should really, if they can, they should do. But with the Dalton Knecht situation, it's just like, once again, he's being traded. And all season long, you're probably going to hear the trade rumors. And to think that he's not going to hear about those, that he's not going to know about those, that like that's not going to get to him because he was already traded. Right? Like if there was all those rumors and he wasn't traded, you probably could, talk yourself into like, hey, you know what? Like they're not going to trade me. Like they had a chance to trade me last season. They didn't, right? Like, but he knows any minute. It's like getting fired and then the same day they hire you and they're like, yeah. And then you just walk away. You're like, every day you're in the office, you're just like, is today the day they actually fire me for good? Right? Like, like it's just like, oh, hey, we fired you. And then as you're walking out with all your stuff, they're like, never mind. Right? Like, we're going to keep you for the day. And then a day turns into 2, turns into 3, turns into 4. And you're just like, okay, so how long are they keeping me around for? At what point do they say, all right, pack your stuff, it's time to go? And that's kind of what it feels like with Dalton Knecht, that we're in this spot where it's like, it's almost a matter of when, not if, he gets traded. And, it's unfortunate. I feel for him. I feel for the young man because he is still young. He's older by like second year standards, but he's still young, right? Like he's still a kid in many ways. And, now he has the pressure of like, I need to be great because I need to like show the Lakers and I need to like stick around and I want to be like, it's this mess. And he's probably got 50 million emotions. And then he's going to get to the season. He's not going to play very much because he's going to be the 13th guy on this roster, on this team. And it's just, unless he is shooting the lights out, unfortunately, he's a liability. I mean, that's the reality. It is, right? Because he's not going to get enough opportunities on the offensive side of things to where he's going to be able to be a significant impact guy in that regard. And then on the defensive side of the ball, unless he takes like huge strides, he's just not going to be able to, during the regular season to an extent, but especially come playoff time. Like I'd be pretty surprised if he sees the court come playoff time. I mean, I said it last playoffs, and people told me, they're going to give him minutes. They have to give him minutes, and I was like, you can't. Right? Like, and I saw a lot of people, even in the playoffs, that were like, oh, I can't believe J.J. Redick didn't give Dalton Knecht. Like, Dalton Knecht's not saving that series. Like, he's not the difference, baby. If anything, they're licking their chops. Guess what? We just got somebody that's worse defensively than Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. I guess who we're switch hunting to every possession now. Guess who Anthony Edwards is attacking every possession now. That guy. And so the problem is like, again, I'm not saying that he is more than just a catch and shoot 3-point shooter, but on this Lakers team, that's all he's going to be able to be because the Lakers don't need him to be anything else. The Lakers don't need to give him the opportunities to do more. The Lakers are in the position to where it's like, they don't even really need to play him. If Jake LaRavia's half decent shooting the 3-ball, he's getting more minutes. He's going to be the guy on the pecking order. Right? You talk about a guy, he's even younger. Like, and again, Dalton Knecht, he didn't have a bad season. He wasn't terrible. Maybe some trades happen that aren't, that don't involve him. Right? Say you trade Gabe Vincent and, whatever, Max Kleber or whatever, and then it's like, okay, maybe you could find Knecht some more minutes at the 2. And that might give him a little more advantages because of his size, 6'6", 6'7", in height, and his shooting ability and stuff. So maybe you can kind of squeeze him in a little more. But I'd imagine the Lakers probably, like, if you go and trade for an Andrew Wiggins, you can slot Wiggins at the 2 still. And you can slot Wiggins at the 3, right? So, like, it's just, again, if you get that other guy, it just, to me, knocks Dalton Knecht further and further back. Right? And again, he had a good, even despite all of his inconsistencies and stuff throughout the season, on 4.4 attempts, he shot almost just under 38%, 37.6% from 3-point range. He got a total of 7.1 attempts in 19 minutes per game, shot 46.1% from the field. As I mentioned, 37.6% on 4.4 attempts. 2-point range, he shot 59.4% on 2.8 attempts. Free throw shooting was 76.2% on 1.1 attempts. He grabbed 3 rebounds, an assist, round up and be nice, half a steal, half a block, and 9 points per game. If you look at his per 36, doesn't tell you everything, but kind of gives you an idea. He would have been 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Will be nice and round up to a full steal and half a block. If he could give you something like that in like 19, 20 minutes of action, then I think that there's a place for him. But I don't think he's going to do that. And I just think he's checked out. I think the Lakers almost don't have a choice but to trade him. And I also think that the Lakers are best to trade him at this point, and sooner rather than later, just because his value's probably low right now, or it can't be higher than it was when he was dropping nearly 40, right? So his value's probably pretty in the gutter right now. And my concern is it just gets worse, right? Because he's completely checked out. He's a liability. He's getting cooked out there. And even when, and does he even get minutes? And it's like, okay, well, he's a guy that's not even in your rotation. He's a guy that you don't even utilize. And you want us to give you, plus value for him? Like, why would we do that? And he's not even a guy that's on your radar. Why would he be like, it gives teams trying to make that trade a little leverage in that regard that could, hurt you. I like Dalton Knecht. I think he has some of the tools that the Lakers really need. Right? And I do think if he could just develop a serviceable defensive game, he could be a valuable piece on this Lakers team. I just don't think the Lakers, one, are going to be willing to develop him. And I just think he's the odd man out. And I just don't see where he really fits. And if he was like 19 or like say 20, if he's like Bronny's age, then I'd probably feel very different. I'd probably be like, no, absolutely not. Because you could spend the next, 2-3 years kind of slowly developing him if you need to. And now he's at the age that he's at now, right? Like the problem is he's not. He's 24, right? Now, so you spend 2-3 years. I mean, he's already in the heart of his prime. And it's going to take probably a couple years for him to really emerge, like consistently emerge, right? Even if he does kind of become that, like you start to see that breakout player, you start to see that guy, probably going to take a couple years for him to really get established. Now you're talking he's 30. It's like, how good is he going to be? Midway, basically in April, so like before the playoffs, he'll be 25 years old. He's already supposed to be starting to become the player that he is. Not, oh, hey, this is the guy that we're developing. And so I think he needs to go, just for his sake, I think he needs to go to a team that is going to be willing to kind of let him be him, kind of expedite that development process. So that way in like 2 years, it's like, okay, this guy's, maybe a starting level guy, maybe not a star or superstar or anything like that, but just like a starting level guy. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion or past question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's been doing these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.